So you and a couple of your friends are going to tackle a BDR this spring. Well, that's just fantastic. You got your tank bag, your panniers, GPS and your phone mount, everything you need to make it a memorable trip. But now you're thinking you might want to invest in an action camera in order to record your memories and share them with your friends and family later down the road. Well, that's just fantastic too, but you don't know where to start. No worries, I'm here to help. First, you're going to want to pick a camera. And the three manufacturers that are leading the pack are the Insta360, the DJI Action, and the GoPro Hero Black. Now, to make your choice, you can watch reviews and comparisons until you bleed from the eyes. But I've done the research for you, and while I'm partial to GoPro, to be honest, these are all great cameras that have their pros and cons. For example, with the Insta360, you might be sacrificing some image quality for longer battery life. And the DJI Action is much the same. It is also true that both of these cameras perform better in low light than the GoPro. However, in normal daylight, the GoPro has better definition and color, and the stabilization is superior as well. As far as overheating goes, GoPros do run hot, but I've never had one of mine overheat as long as I'm using it the way it was intended to be used, which is as an outdoors action camera, not a vlogging camera. After all, it is a GoPro, not a Stay Pro. The only advice I'd give for choosing a camera is to not make the same mistake I did. Wow, here's a 4K action camera for only $70. And it comes with 2 batteries, a charger, and a remote. I can make every penny count with this one. Well, 4 years later, I'm still trying to make every penny count with this one. Its most recent job was to keep an eye on the motorcycle on the way to Giant Loop. Just look at that clarity. Gee, I hope it doesn't fall off. So now you've chosen the best camera for you. Hold on, it's not time to dust trail up just yet. You got some more shopping to do. For those long days on the BDR, 1 battery just isn't going to get it. You might be able to get away with 2, but I recommend 3. And a quick tip, you might want to number them to avoid mix-ups when changing them out. You will also want to invest in a multi-port battery charger. This here is the GoPro dual-port charger, but all the camera manufacturers have their own version of this. And the final item for keeping your camera powered up is a nice fat power bank. I'd recommend something in the 50,000 mAh range. You can plug it directly into your battery charger, throw it into your tank bag, and just forget it. It is also good for maintaining your other devices, such as your cell phone or unmounted satellite device, even your mini air compressor. Now let's talk about memory cards. Your camera is going to need a micro SD like the one pictured here. You're going to want to go with a minimum of 64 gigabytes. However, I prefer 256 gigabytes. Just make sure it has the U3 and the V30. These numbers check all the boxes you'll need. Now that the camera's handled, the question remains, where should you mount it? Well, first you're going to want to have it within reach so you can turn it on and off on the fly. So that narrows it down to this area right here. Without going into details, I do not recommend a chest mount. You could mount it somewhere on the front of your motorcycle. The problem with that, however, is that your view will be limited to where your motorcycle is pointing. The same is true for anywhere you would mount it on your motorcycle. My suggestion would be to mount it somewhere on your helmet, which, depending on how well your neck is working, will give you up to a 180-degree view of your adventure. But keep in mind that not all helmet mounting areas are created equal. This boom mount is just plain stupid. A top mount is good, however, some of your view may be sacrificed to your visor, and you'll find yourself ducking a lot to keep it away from low branches. And if I'm being honest, it kind of gives off a Teletubby vibe. The side of your helmet is also a popular mounting area, but keep in mind that this can also be a branch whacker, and that with the side mount you can also lose some of your field of view. Mounting under the visor is a great place for the field of view. The camera is well protected and mostly clear of obstructions. However, the camera will have to be mounted upside down, so you may have to mess with the settings in your camera to make sure you're not filming upside down. Oh, and we are going to go over settings later on in this video. Last but not least is the chin mount. Mounting on the chin also has a great field of view, though being lower on the helmet, the view might include dash components and your windscreen. Also, finding the hardware to chin mount your camera can be an issue. But worry not, we are addressing the dizzying array of mounting hardware options next. So if you're going to roll with an under visor mount or a top of the helmet mount, you should only need the adhesive base and the thumb screw bracket. If you choose the side of the helmet mount, you'll need the adhesive base, the thumb screw bracket, and a fistful of hardware to get your angle right. Oh, and keep in mind that most new action cameras come with a base, bracket, and thumb screw. All other accessories have to be purchased separately. Chin mounting is a little bit different. There are wrong ways and right ways to do it. For example, this is, in my opinion, one of the wrong ways. Jaw strap mounts are bulky, clunky, and may tend to migrate out of position. And this convoluted disaster requires an engineering degree to set up. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 angle adjustments. What could go wrong, right? The jaw clip is another bulky, clunky option, and it too may vibrate out of position. I also don't like how far it intrudes into the helmet. A more permanent and stable chin mounting option would be the adhesive back mount. This here is a universal mount that can be purchased on Amazon. However, it is a little bulky and may not fit all helmet types. Another one-size-fits-all option is the Flex Slim by Motorads. It is less bulky than the previous option, yet it maintains a large mounting surface area. But it might not be the best option for a helmet with a more pointy chin area. Last but not least is chin mounts. Allegedly trusted by over 300,000 riders, Chin Mounts manufactures helmet-specific mounts and has an adhesive chin mount for every helmet on the planet. Well, except for maybe this one. This is the brand that I decided to go with, and I've been quite happy with it so far. Now it's time for settings. I only really know GoPro settings, but much of what I'll talk about translates to the other cameras we talked about. And the first note is that if your battery has been out of your camera for any length of time, you may have lost your time and date settings. Well, this is an easy fix. After you install the battery and turn the camera on, at least for GoPro, you'll get a prompt to update date and time. It has a manual update option, but the easiest way is to use the camera's app. For GoPro, it's the Quick app, and all you need to do is pair the camera with the app and it'll automatically update. I'm not sure how the other cameras work. But don't worry, you can turn off the camera, change your battery, and your date and time settings will remain. The date and time only has to be reset if you leave the battery out for several hours. Still in the Quick app, tap on the gear, and this will take you into some basic camera settings. Hopefully the apps for the other cameras are similar. The important settings here are the voice controls, which unless you plan on using them should be turned off, especially the wake-on voice. Now the beeps I like to set at medium or high so I can hear when the shutter is being turned on or off. For GoPro, one beep is turning the shutter on. You'll hear 3 beeps when you turn the shutter off. The LCD's on, of course. The auto off, never. As for the screensaver, 3 minutes has always worked for me. And I just match the front screen to the rear screen. Now we can go back to the main screen and look at some resolution settings. Right now the camera's at 4K 30 wide. This setting will give you the best resolution, but it does shorten battery life a little bit. A lesser but definitely usable resolution is 1080. However, the 60 is unnecessary. That's frames per second. 60 frames per second does not improve your resolution, except for when using your footage in slow motion. You can simply tap again to go back to the presets and tap on the pencil to the far right to edit this preset. Locate the frames per second, tap on it, and then tap on 30 frames per second. The reason you're going to want to do this is to save space on your SD card. Other settings in this menu are Hypersmooth, which should be set on high, bitrate high, shutter auto, ISO minimum and maximum 100 and 1600 respectively. Sharpness on high, GoPro on GoPro color, and wind on auto. And that should be enough to get you started. Equally as important as the camera you choose and the way you set it up are the shots that you get. And that's what we're going to talk about now. But before you even fire up that beast and head for the hills, you're going to want to test your camera. I'm testing you. making sure it's not overexposed, underexposed, upside down, or even blurry. By the way, if you should find that it's upside down, the fix for that, at least with GoPro, is to swipe down on the back screen of your camera, locate the orientation icon, hold the camera in the position that you want to be recording in, and tap the button. This will lock it into that orientation. I personally prefer to have it in orientation all. After you've recorded your test clip, to view it, connect with the camera's app and tap on View Media. For older cameras, you'll need a Wi-Fi connection. However, most of the newer cameras are Bluetooth capable. Now view your test clip. If it's all good, then you're good to go. If not, then go over the settings again. Getting the shots you want. While out on your adventure, there are some key times to have your camera on. For example, some of your best shots are going to include one or more of your fellow riders. So if your camera's on, try to take up the rear. Coming to a stop doesn't mean you should turn your camera off. Some of those roadside regroups give you the best footage. You should also make sure your camera is recording when you and your crew are encountering challenging terrain. This is footage that you do not want to miss. You will also want to capture those landmarks and spectacular views that you encounter along the way. The basic rule of thumb is anything that you may be talking about for years to come is going to be good footage. Like those precious moments when you find yourself in a drag race with some venison, or when one of your crew is racing to catch up but doesn't notice that you have stopped. The key is to be mindful about when you hit that record button. You will inevitably miss stuff, but if you take my advice, you will get a lot of memorable footage. Well, that should be good to get you started. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments below. This is the Moto Noob signing off. See you in the next one.